Welcome to Simply Walk the Talk. Our bodies and minds adapt to what we do most of the time. If you want to change your body and mind, you must change what it is you do most of the time. This podcast explores all things health, wellness, fitness, lifestyle, and biohacking. Stay tuned as we explore various thoughts, methods, and experiences from a multitude of conversations between our interesting guests and experts through many fields of work. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Simply walk the talk. Simply walk the talk.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Simply Walk the Talk. I am your host, JoshuaJHolland, and today we've got a very fun, exciting podcast. And if you're at all interested in trying to optimize your life, optimize your career, optimize your relationships, and if you have any interest in trying to do those things with cool tools like myself, then you want to continue listening to this episode, because we've got Mr. David Wong on the show. And David has a lot, he wears many hats. And, you know, he kind of is one of those people that I feel like we may have to do like 4 or 5 parts to cover all the things that he does. But for this episode, David Wong is a wellness technology innovator, martial artist, musician, Qigong practitioner, and visionary entrepreneur. He is the founder of Qi Life, a company that develops cutting-edge technology for personal wellness. His charismatic vision is a future where anyone can access the benefits of Qi energy immediately and effortlessly. His own personal journey of transformation began when he self-healed from an incurable disease that he had for over 10 years, achieved with only frequency and energy devices. This led him to invent Qi Coil frequency technology, together with a training program, the transformation system that allows for effortless mind and body wellness, balance, happiness, and the ability to manifest ideas into reality. Integrating multidisciplinary sciences, he continues to develop revolutionary digital technologies that enhance personal wellness, such as Qi His lifelong passion is continual self-transformation to achieve his full potential while helping other truth seekers transform themselves quickly and easily. David currently resides in Canada and spends his free time practicing Qigong meditation, piano, and martial arts as a third-generation Bruce Lee student with his 2 dogs at the park. All right, Mr. David Wong, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Joshua. Thanks for the amazing introduction. Glad to be here.
Yeah. And, you know, before we started recording, I was admiring your amazing background. I mean, obviously, someone that has created a company like you have, and many companies like you have, there's going to be some representation of energy in the background, and you definitely have that. So if you are only listening to this episode, I would encourage you to hop on the video here on YouTube, because you want to see this guy. He's a good-looking man. He's fit, he's intelligent, and he's got a cool background. So if that's not enough to jump on the video, I don't know what else is. So Mr. Wong, let's talk about your background. I mean, there's so many things that I would like to dive into, and hopefully, time willing, we can get through most of it. But let's talk about your background. Let's talk about how you got to where you are now, and sort of what has molded you into the person you are today.
Sure thing. Well, one thing that characterizes myself is I'm someone that always learning. I always want to improve myself. If you can see my Chinese writing up there, it says always improving myself, or always improving self. So that's kind of like one of my models. Always want to be improving, always be learning new things. So ever since I was young, I've always been curious. And whenever I want to learn something, I would put, all my time. I would practice like piano. When I was learning piano when I was young, I would practice like 4 hours a day, and I would get really good at it. and then I would move on to the next thing, and so on, right? So my background is in music. First of all, I actually graduated from Capilano College for jazz music.
Mm.
So I played jazz piano, but before that, I was actually in engineering. So that's a big difference in the line of schooling. But I was actually in engineering. I got a full scholarship in UBC, University of British Columbia, $10,000 4-year scholarship in engineering, right? So I had the smarts, I had the academics. But after my first year, I decided I don't want to be an engineer. Because all I did was I looked at what engineers did, people who were engineers, for 20, 30 years, and I didn't want to be there after 20, 30 years. So I said, I want to study my passion. So I went to study music. So I've always been someone that really pursues my passion rather than just pursue something that, generally would be the more logical thing to do. And from there, after music, I started to run my own business, start my own business and so on. And then I started to get into this holistic meditation, martial arts. I've always basically done since I was young, but then I took it more seriously. I started my own martial arts studio, teaching people how to do Wing Chun. And then from there, I just, but throughout that, younger time in my life, I was in my 20s. I wasn't very healthy at that time, even though I was active, right, and driven. But then I put aside my health. I was so focused on succeeding, on success, and on making money that I neglected my health, and I kind of ignored it. But during that time, over 10 years, I was actually very sick. And I had this chronic digestive disorder. There was no cure. I went to many different specialists, herbalists, acupuncturists, all sorts of different doctors. And all I got was just a prescription. And those prescriptions didn't work. And it gave me side effects, like skin problems that I never had in my life. So I came to a point when I almost gave up and said, you know what, I think I might just have this disease for my whole life, and that's going to be the way it is. But something inside me made me, keep searching. And at that time, I started to get more heavily into meditation and in Qigong and in Tai Chi. And at that time, I was practicing at least an hour a day. And I came across some new things about sound healing, and I started to experiment with that. And I noticed that my meditation became a lot deeper. I was able to access different parts of my mind. I also did the Wim Hof method, if you're familiar with that. Ice bath method. I trained that for about 6 months. So, and then I was able to, submerge myself in 0 degrees water for about 2 minutes without problems. So, and when I did all those things, I started to realize that I feel that my Qi really activated. And if you never really felt what Qi is, basically, it can be many things to different people. So for me, it just felt like there's all these vibrations going through your body, right? Without really doing any physical effort. So just with your mind and with your intention, you're able to feel these vibrations pretty intensely throughout your hands, your fingers, your chest, your face, throughout your entire body. So I started to really activate my Qi. And then I said, wow, this is amazing. And then at the same time, I was trying out these frequency technologies using electromagnetic frequencies. So you can see these are Qi Coils, in the background, Oracle, and so on. So I started experimenting with them. And I only wanted to kind of test it out and see if it would enhance my meditation and get me deeper into those meditative states, which it did. But what ended happening was that I healed myself from my chronic disease in 90 days. And that was really like I was just really grateful for that. I was like, wow, finally my prayers have been answered. I've been searching for all this time for basically a solution, an answer to this problem I had for 10 years, and I finally found it. And so at that point, I said, I've got to, improve this technology, because I'm a tinkerer and I like to improve things, and I like to create things. So at that time, I had an app development company, which developed over 3,000 applications on App Store and Android. And why don't I just make an app for this, and then create a system with a emitter, which is the Qi Coils, the electromagnetic emitter, and then create a product from this and help many people with it. And that's exactly what I did. And now we have thousands of people who have transformed their lives using our technologies through either the sound therapy or the electromagnetic therapy. And so that's kind of like my background. Yeah, there we go. That's a Qi Coil.
Yeah. So I
yeah.
just while he was talking, while David was talking, I decided to pull out my my Qi Coil, and we'll go over that. But it's just here, and again, just another plug for the video. Many of you will definitely want to check out this video, because most likely we're going to be talking about, like he mentioned, the Qi Coils and the Qi aura, and there's going to be many things we're going to talk about that I really do think if you think that this might be a technology for you, you want to check out this video. So David, I definitely want to kind of go back, especially when it comes to the part about your curing your incurable digestive disease. In the bio, I mentioned that you did this completely with frequency technology and healing devices. But it kind of begs the question, at least from like the devil's advocate point of view, surely you changed up your diets or you did something else, because I imagine that when a person goes down the path of trying to heal themselves, they try to make the best decisions they can. So were there some other things you were doing, or was it simply just you ate the same way, you did everything the same, you slept the same, you exercised the same, and you just kind of brought in these frequency technologies?
Yeah, basically I was doing the same thing. I mean, I it's not like I haven't been doing things and haven't been changing my diet. Like I have been doing those things over the 10 years, but then it never healed me, right? It would just make things less worse, but it was really still
Got
bad.
it.
So, but nothing really healed me 100%, like 100%, like completely healed. I mean, there's things like I would take herbal medicine, and then that would make me have less issues, right? Let's say 30% better. But still, if this is sickness down here and this is healthy up here, I would be hovering around here, below 50% most days. If on a good day I'll be up here, on a bad day I'll be up here, but I'll never be up to the completely healed. Until I use the devices, and when I started using the devices, I felt it the first day that I used it. The moment I turned it on, I was like, whoa, there's something in my gut. I didn't feel this before. This is new. And I knew something different was happening. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that it could be something that would have worked, that could work, and it did. So 90 days later, I just kept using it on a daily basis, about 20 minutes a day. And, the symptoms went down every day. And then
Wow.
90 days later, I'm perfectly fine. And then I never regressed ever either. So
do you continue to use it the way that you were using it, or do you kind of have like a maintenance dose, so to speak?
Now I don't need to use it that much. So like I'm already, like after you use it for some time, your body naturally Qi level is naturally boosted, because your body naturally creates its own Qi. But just some people it's like a fire, right? If you don't have a spark, it's never going to grow. But once you get to a certain level, it's going to kind of maintain itself. So now I don't really need to use it that much, maybe a couple times a week. But at that time, like if you have some, like when I had a serious condition like that, I used it daily.
Okay. So now I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like the first thing that you may have come up with, or maybe the staple product is the Qi Coil. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's one of the first products. But the very first product was the Resonant one and the oral coils, the bigger versions. And then after that, I said, this thing is kind of big, and I want something that people can just carry with them, put it in the pocket, take it to the gym, take it to the park, take it to somewhere to meditate. Yeah, and put it in a purse or whatever. So I created Qi Coil. But that's the best selling one right now is the Qi Coils.
It makes sense because a lot of people are looking for portability, especially nowadays. And to be fair, a lot of people have gut issues, whether they know it or not. And me being a health coach, I can't even begin to explain how often I work with clients that either come to me because they have gut issues, or we end up finding out that they have gut issues. And once we can kind of work through that and get them feeling better from the gut, then everything else becomes so much better. And I think it's really cool and fascinating that you can possibly have something like the Qi Coil or, one of your devices that can help to augment that, to make that even better. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And, something that I get a lot, especially with these healing frequencies, is frequency technology. There's a lot of times people want to see tangibility. They want to see that it works before they believe that it works. And I just think that's simply a lack of awareness because, for instance, we don't see love, but we feel love, right? And but I think you've kind of addressed that problem by enabling like a few things, and we talked about this in one of our first calls together. We talked about the ability to see that this is working so that you can then trust that it works. But how was that for you? Like, I know you said that you felt it the first day you used it. But then was that good enough for you and building a company? Was that good enough to just have people believe that it works? Or did you feel like you had to address it in a different way?
So the question is, how do I show that it works when people don't believe it works? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Because, like some people are trusting, but we know a lot of people aren't. So, who's to say that I just spent however much money on something that is quote unquote supposed to work? How do we know?
Okay, well, if you study or you look into PEMF therapy, pulse electromagnetic therapy, there's thousands of studies done by various doctors and scientists all around the world over the last 80 years or so that talk about all the benefits of pulse electromagnetic frequency therapy, like the benefits of magnetic frequency. Everything from like skin issues to blood circulation to bone regeneration to anxiety to stress to sleep. It's like basically the one technology that can help anything in a person's life. So I'm not the first person to come out with this technology. I just created a way to make it accessible and a new way to experience this technology, which I think is probably one of the best ways you can experience compared to all the other stuff out there. So number one, there's the science behind it. It's already there. It's already proven. Number two, if people say, well, I can't feel it, right? Because 20% of the people are not energetically sensitive and they cannot feel it no matter how much of this you blast into their body. So we show them with a magnet. So if you turn on the test frequency, you plug in the Qi Coil and you put a small magnet on it, you can feel it vibrating or you can see it bouncing around in a little jar. So you can see the magnetic field at work that is working. So that's another thing. Then there's also the mind-body connection and and actually feeling it. I mean, let's say you drink a lot of coffee. Yeah, there you go. That's it. There's a little magnet ball in there. Let's say you drink a lot of coffee. You can feel it, right? You can feel your eyes getting bigger. You can feel your mind kind of clearing up. You can feel maybe hotter in your body. So those are reactions that your body would have when you drink coffee. The same thing with the coils. If you play a certain frequency, it can make you more energized, and you would feel it. And 80% of the people will, but 20% of the people won't. So so most people will feel it once they use it. But for those 20% of people that won't feel it, after using for about 21 days on a daily basis, they will start to realize the changes in their everyday life. They will realize, oh, how I can work longer without getting tired, or my sleep is a lot better. I can wake up and jump up and get started in the morning without coffee, right? Or I can stay up really late and work or study without getting tired and stay focused. So they will start realizing that their whatever they're producing, their productivity would be boosted a lot more than before. And this is not just like a slight improvement, like 5%. Oh, maybe it's a little bit better, or maybe I sleep a little bit better. This is like dramatic improvements. I'm talking like, wow, this is the best sleep I've ever had in the last 10 years. Or, wow, I was able to work 12 hours, super laser focused without distraction. I was able to get so much done I never had before. Like, these are the reviews and these are the testimonies we're getting. Like, these are dramatic improvements in people's lifestyles and in their productivity. We're not just talking incrementally. Okay. These are like dramatic improvements. So with consistent use, I think everyone 100%, well, usually you don't say 100%, but I feel like 100% that will benefit from it. Okay. Even the people that can't feel it, because you will see the difference in the change of the lifestyle. You will see the difference in the change of your productivity, in the results you want to get. Let's say you want to get more fit, you want to gain more muscle mass. We have frequencies for that. We have frequencies that help you to emulate things such as ayahuasca, right? Emulate such as ashwagandha, or emulate frequencies from Garcinia Cambogia, right? All those different supplements actually have frequencies. Every food, every supplement in the world, every molecule has a frequency. And it's up to the scientists to figure out what those frequencies are, and then figure out how to emulate it through a device, which is exactly what we've done.
Well said, and thank you for that explanation. Because that's exactly what I was getting at. Is and I didn't have that data that you just mentioned about 20% of people are energy insensitive, but these are the people that I'm talking about. That, like, let's say when I used to have my biohacking center in Flatiron, we would, I have a whole bunch of different PEMF devices. But the ones that people are willing to spend the money on are the ones like the Pulse Center's PEMF device, in which when you sit on it or you lay on it or you put the coils around you somewhere, you visibly see muscles activating and things like that. But what I tell people is almost exactly what you just mentioned, is you don't have to have it be that intense to know that it's working. Because A, there's already a bunch of science on it, and B, once you start to be more aware about the various things that need boosting in your life, that's when you start to see like, oh wow, this actually is working. But I will admit, having the little small glass jar with the magnetic ball on the inside, watching it bounce around, for me was just enough to get me over the edge. Because keep in mind, I get a lot of devices sent to me, and people want me to kind of vet their products and talk about them and things like that. And so I come at it with a certain bit of skepticism, because I know that many of my followers and my clients and my friends and my family have a certain amount of skepticism. So I like to be able to know, okay, if you're not willing to believe it, then try this. And go and for instance, before we just recorded now, I had a friend here, and I had him, we were going over Qi Coil, and we were just talking about it, and he very much thought the same thing. He was just kind of like, yeah, okay, but like, can you feel it? And it's like, okay, so I get out the little I get out the little ball, I show them, and then it's like almost like there's a switch in their brain. As soon as they see that ball moving, they know that something's happening. So then they go, okay, now I'm willing to believe it. So
Right.
but again, I don't think that, I think people should be a little bit more open, because how it works for me may not be how it works for you. So fortunately, I don't have the same gut issues that you had, right? But I might have, let's say, stressed. I might be overly stressed, or I might have anxiety, or I might have a knee problem, which right now I am dealing with some knee pain. So I'm not going to be looking for the same things that you were looking for. So we all have to be very individualized with what we hope to gain from PMF. And you pointed it out very well by saying that you can choose the different frequencies that might help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the thing is that people just have to try it out. I mean, that's the thing that would really convince somebody, is just the experience of it working. And a lot of times you don't have to believe for it to work. Some people think that you have to believe it in order for it to work. You don't, because it's a science. You just have to use it, and then just use it regularly, and then you're going to see results. That's usually how it works, right?
Right. So then, can you do me a favor, and let's just go like a level deeper, and let's talk about what that is, right? Like, what is happening? What is the thing that people are supposed to feel? So we know that you might heal your gut over time. You might get more energy, and you talked about the frequency of various substances, because pretty much everything on this planet has a frequency, right? We emit frequencies as human beings. And so it's all very understood, I think. But like, what is happening at a cellular level and beyond when you access this Qi coil or any of these devices?
Actually, it works on many different levels. But if you're talking about cells, one thing that PMF does is enhance ATP production. So what that does is basically enhance the chemicals that cells use to produce energy. So when a cell doesn't have energy, it cannot deliver nutrients, it cannot function. Basically, it's just like half dead. And the result is disease. Okay, so but if you when it has proper and healthy APT production, then it has the energy it needs to do whatever that cell's purpose is. So that's one thing, is ATP production. Also, voltage, body voltage. There's a lot of books written, a lot of studies done on bone regeneration, muscle regeneration. And if the body doesn't have proper voltage, doesn't have a proper electrical current running through it, then your bones will not heal, or it will heal very slowly. With the proper current, your bones will heal a lot faster. So what electromagnetic frequencies do is actually increase your body voltage, but without having attached an electrode to your skin. Because when people say, well, why don't I just basically plug myself to an electric socket and shock myself to get the voltage? Or why don't I just put a TENS machine on? Well, because then you're just affecting that part on your skin. And people who overuse that start to burn their own skin, skin irritation. And a lot of times it doesn't even get that deep. So what the difference with electromagnetic frequencies is that it creates an electromagnetic field, so that your whole body, as long as you're close to it, is being permeated with electromagnetic stimulation. So now all your cells are getting this electric or Qi energy charge, electrical. It's like induction. If you charge your phone now, you don't need a cable. You just put it on a phone charger. That's called induction. How did it get into electricity when there's no wires? It's through induction. So that's exactly how this works. This is like the wireless charger for your body. All right. So you don't need to connect wires to yourself and plug yourself in. This is like the wireless charger that you just put near you, and through induction, your cells get electrically charged. And now you can regenerate faster. Okay.
Bingo. Yeah. I like that. It's as a practitioner of PMF technologies myself, we like to call it, I like to call it cellular exercise. And I used to always kind of use the analogy as each of our cells throughout our body act as capacitors, and which are sort of like batteries, right? And just like the battery in our phone that needs to be charged, when the voltage of the battery gets to a certain point, a lot of times we have these mechanisms built in to where the phone starts to act in low power mode. That's kind of what happens with us. If we don't have enough voltage in our cells, we kind of go into low power mode, which kind of, we walk around like zombies. We feel lethargic. We don't have the motivation to do anything really. And I forget what the number is, but I want to say like if the millivolts of our cells, if it drops below, I think 70 or 50, chances are we're in a disease state. And I know there's some devices out there that can actually measure the voltage within certain parts of the body to kind of show that, oh, this area is probably diseased or inflamed or unhealthy, and here's how you can activate that. But I love the analogy of the induction and the charging of the phone without a cable. I think that's a very smart analogy. I may have to steal that one. Yeah. So, okay. So we that was a really good explanation in terms of trying to explain how the science works. But you mentioned that there's many different levels besides just the cells. What else would you throw in there to kind of get people to understand how this might work for them?
Okay. So one unique thing that we have in our Qi coils that nobody else has is something called yin and yang. So we wind our coils, one goes clockwise and the other one goes counterclockwise. So you may think, well, what the heck is there any difference in the, a magnet is a magnet, right? Doesn't matter if it's north or south. Doesn't matter if it's counterclockwise or clockwise. Some people may say, well, a field is a field. Doesn't matter what the rotation is. But there's been actually studies done using different winding patterns of a solenoid, or basically something that emits an electromagnetic field. And you can see that it's a different brain waves get triggered. So you can see in the brain that different parts of the brain are activated when it's yin or counterclockwise, and different parts of the brain are activated when it's yang or clockwise, using the same exact frequency. So we're not using different frequencies, using the same exact frequencies. Just because it's wound differently creates a different brain stimulation. So that's something new that nobody else has, right? So if you have these other PMF mats, they'll just have a disc, one layer pancake, and it'll be good, but up to about 1 or 2 inches off the mat. So the power is not that fairly weak. I mean, you probably don't need that much because you're lining and making contact with it. And obviously they don't have a directional, and they don't have a toroidal design. You studied the torus. The toroid is like a shape of the galaxy, the shape of the universe, the shape of vortexes, the shape of corals. Basically everything, or most things in nature, are shaped or powerful energy generating things in nature. It's shaped like toroid, like the tokamak fusion generator that they're working on, or that they have, that creates unlimited energy, is shaped like a torus. So there's a reason that there's something special about the shape in the matter of creating energy or emitting energy. Okay, so that's why we chose the shape. So so not only is there's a shape, there's also the direction, like I said, of yin and yang. So that's another level of therapeutic purpose for the coils. So for example, if you want to relax and you want to expand your mind, feel like ultra relaxation and feel regeneration, then you would use the yin. If you exercising, if you want extreme focus, if you want to feel motivated, if you want to help you overcome depression, you feel like you are deflated, then you would use the yin. And it's surprising, but it's also not surprising that a lot of the ancient Chinese philosophies and traditional Chinese medicine concepts apply to today modern science, of how if you are having too much if you're too depressed or you're too low energy, what you need is to increase the yang in your body. Now, if you have too much inflammation and you feel like you're too much tension, then you need the yin. So we have that additional layer of therapeutic purpose with the yin and yang feature of a coils. So that's another level, and then we can talk about other levels if you want.
Well, I first and foremost, I think that's amazing because with all of my experience with PEMF, I've never really you guys, you and your company are the first to sort of bring that to my attention, in terms of like the way that it's coiled or the way that it's spun or wrapped. I think that's fascinating. And when I saw that in the literature, when I was testing out the Qi Coil, I found out that the one that I have is the yin. It's yin only, right? And in my mind, I thought, well, couldn't I just flip it over to make it yang? But I think you correct me if I'm wrong. I think you have to get a separate what do you call that, handle, a separate device that is completely different, and then you could put those together if you wanted. I would assume, right?
No, you flip it over, it's still yin, because if you look at the winding, it's still going one direction. That's how it works.
Right.
So geometrically,
so you do have to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So geometrically, if you flip the winding the other way, it's still winding counterclockwise. Yin.
Still the same.
So you have basically, if you want yang, you have to wind a completely different pattern. Yeah.
Got it. Now, could you use those together to get the best of both worlds, like the yin and the yang?
Yeah, so you could use them together, exactly. And what we discovered is when you use them together, like you see those two here, and you have one yin and one yang, then you create something very special in the middle. Okay, so now we're going into another level, which is we can call it like scalar energy, or you can call it subtle energy. Okay, do you notice that the most powerful or the most sacred sites on the world, you know where they position them? Have you heard of ley lines, right? Ley lines?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So ley lines are supposedly these pathways or these grids all over the world that where the Earth's energy or is flowing through. Now, not only are there ley lines, but there's also yin and yang ley lines. And if you study the most sacred sites, for example, Stonehenge, the palaces in China, the pyramids in Egypt, they place them on where the yin and yang ley lines intersect. So wherever they intersect the yin and the yang forces, supposedly the ancients at least believed that that's where the most powerful energies can be created. So
wow.
Yeah. So that's, you don't have, believe that or not, but that's kind of how, that's basically what may happen when you use the yin and yang coils together. Okay. Because what's happening is you're creating two spiraling electromagnetic forces. And this is highly controversial. Okay. So, if you don't think this is real, that's fine. This is all just theoretical for now. Okay. So at the point where they meet, you create a third kind of wave, which is not electromagnetic. It's actually a scalar wave. And what scalar waves are waves that can travel faster than light. So anyway, we're not going to get too much in that, but it's another form of energy that we've been experimenting with, and it cannot be measured with a magnet. You can't measure it with a photon meter, but we can measure the effects of it. We can see what it does to the human body, and what that's led me to release recently is something called Qi Energy AI. So QIENERGY.AI. And what we've done is we created basically an algorithm and an artificial intelligence, so to speak, that can utilize this scalar energy, utilize this kind of subtle, invisible energy.
So then, is that similar to like in the same idea of binaural frequencies, in that you play one frequency is going into one ear, another frequency is going to the other ear, and the brain, the body sort of takes that middle ground and uses that as that binaural frequency. Is that kind of what you would do with the scalar? Like you would pancake your body in
Mm,
between?
not really. No. It's a different kind. It's a different. It works differently. But I see what you're saying. Basically, you start creating a differential in the frequencies. Let's say you got 1 and you got 3, so the differential is 2. So when you play 1, you play 3. When you hit together, they make 2, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's binaural beats. That's also electromagnetic waves, but that's not scalar waves. Okay, so electromagnetically on that level, audibly, sound wise on that level, yes, that works. But
Mm-hmm.
on the level I'm talking about, it's a similar concept, but that's not how it works. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
No. Interesting. I find this all very fascinating because again, what you've already created is amazing, and so I can only imagine where you're going, especially with this. The more that you can boost your brain waves, because I look through a lot of these programs. There's a lot of programs that you have to offer. Maybe we can pull that up on the site, but there's so many programs in there, and I love using brain enhancing frequencies and things that kind of help boost my cognition. And the things that come from that is what I do today. You know what I mean? It's like as I do more work on myself, I start to get more creative, and I start to understand things in a different way, so that I can then regurgitate that to the public. Um, but this is all very, very fascinating. So now, when I pulled up the my Qi coil, people may have noticed that I also had headphones with mine, because I know part of the technology that you use with the Qi coil and so on. Um, it and the way you explain it to me, and again, we can go through it and correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that it was kind of explained is that there's a sound that is created, but then the coil is utilizing the frequency from that sound to emit the frequency into the body. But you can also listen to the sound to get an enhanced effect as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
can you explain that?
Yes. So to better understand what our company is about, it's basically is Qi life, right? So Qi is one thing you can say it is it's a frequency, it's a vibration, right? But it's a lot more than that. But the simplified way of saying it is this frequency. But in science, there's many different kinds of frequencies. For example, we talked about electromagnetism, which could be actually magnetic or electric or light, right? So they all have frequencies. Light has frequency, sound has frequency, magnetic fields have frequencies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's also scalar energy or subtle energy, which also has a different kind of frequency. So everything is frequency. If you look at even the cells of our body or every atom, it's basically a frequency. It's energy. It's not solid matter.
Mm-hmm.
We're not made of solid matter. We're made of energy. And the smaller and smaller you get, you realize that there's no particles. It's just, there's particles, but then it's mostly empty space. So we are
Mm-hmm.
all empty space. Reality is majority empty space. Space is all the mass on the planet. Most of it in the universe is mostly empty space. So when you understand that, when you can realize that everything is just vibration and energy, just like Tesla said, then you know the secrets of the universe, right? So this is the
Yeah.
realm that we're playing with. So so if you understand that, then you can understand how the technology works. Is that it's actually producing many different kinds of frequencies on different levels. So one of them, as you said, is that there's the sound frequencies. So that will do that. Your ears will hear that. Your brain will process that. the sound vibrations of using a speaker will bounce off your skin, and you can feel. Some people can feel it bouncing off the skin, and it'll affect the skin through that barrier in your body. So there's that. There's electromagnetic frequency, which goes straight through your whole body, through all your cells and through all your bones, which you cannot hear, but some people can feel, but you can see it with a magnet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the subtle energy, which you cannot see and you cannot detect with a device, but you can measure the frequencies of it. And when I say subtle energy, how do I know that there's subtle energy? We can do another podcast about dark matter and about a lot of things that scientists cannot explain are happening in the universe, but it's happening. We know it's happening. We can see the result. We can see the effects of dark matter. Like if this is confirmed by many astrologists. I mean, not astrologists, astrophysicists. That the majority of the universe is dark matter. They can't figure out what it is, but it is bending light, and this gravitational pull is strong enough to bend light. But there's no matter there. It's dark matter. They can't find it. So what is doing that, right? And one of the hypothesis is that is actually Qi energy. There's actually a spin of energy in dark matter, and you can see the effects of it on stars and how light works and gravity. So, these astrophysicists are discovering this and studying this, and they're basically over the last 100 years they're showing, yes, it exists. This subtle energy exists, and it actually is doing things and creating changes that are if they're undeniable. You can see them affecting gravity and light, but we just haven't figured out what it actually is. So we know it's basically we know it exists. We know it was working, but we don't know how it works and where it's coming from. But some scientists have actually figured that out too, where it's how to create it, how to generate this energy, and how to actually use it as a technology. So to answer your question, that's a long way to answer your question, but I think the deeper question is like, what is this company doing? Yes, we have sound. Yes, we have electromagnetic frequencies. Yes, we have light frequency devices. Yes, we have subtle energy. But what we're doing is we want to give you access to Qi in its various different forms throughout the universe. So there's many companies that we have PMF therapy. This is great, awesome. PMF therapy is awesome, but that's all they have, because that's just one expression of Qi, electromagnetic field. But Qi itself is like one of the secrets of the universe, and there's so many different ways of expressing it. So my vision is to give you as many different experiences of Qi as possible, not just through Qigong and esoteric practices, which is great, which may take you years to learn, right? And and they work too. I mean, some people have a lot of success with it, but to become a Qigong master where you can send your energy and heal people 3,000 miles away, you'll need to practice for 20 years, right? Or to even use your hands to heal people, Qigong healing and all that stuff, it'll take you at least a year to get good at it. But now I create technology that you can turn on by pressing a button on an app, and you can experience the same thing. So that's the difference between, and that's where we're going as a company, is we want people to experience this energy, Qi energy, that has always existed throughout time. And then the ancients, the practitioners, the adepts throughout history have been able to harness that using their own mental power, their own personal power, using Qigong or using Reiki or using yoga, whatever it is, and be able to create a technology for that. So what we're doing is we are basically marrying science together with all these supernatural or all the esoteric things that we've known for thousands of years, and marry it together and then combine it into one thing, into one path.
Hence Qi life, right? Because it's not just Qi Coil, It's, it's not just, the chi aura, or, or whatever. It's about the entire life,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like
So,
for me,
uh,
it's not just a product. For me, it's a lifestyle. It's a basically a a way of thinking, or a path, or a belief system, even, right? So
right.
a belief, or basically a perception of how the world works.
Well said. Can you, do you mind pulling up your website and maybe sharing it so we can just kind of go through a few of the things? For everyone listening, the website is www.qilifestore.com, and that's spelled QILIFESTORE.com. And of course, I will link to all of this in the show notes and the description. But yeah, maybe we can go over some of the devices and tools, or if you want me to share my screen, I can. Whatever is
Okay,
easiest.
let me share it. So I go click this window, and yeah. Okay, now, okay.
There we go. So the one I have is the Qi Coil Mini S, I believe, right?
Yeah, so let me fix the pricing here. Should be US dollars. Okay, hold on. Yeah, so you have the Qi Coil Mini. That's our base model, and it gets people, into this technology and start to play around with it. So it's called Qi Coil Mini. It's got a yin coil here. I can see it spins counterclockwise towards the center. That's how you can tell. And it comes with some frequencies on our app. It comes with the power kit, which is what powers the coil. So you connect the phone to this, and then you connect it to this. And the size of this is about 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches, that's right. And then you can get this one, the 2S. Basically, it's 3-inch coils. And now you get into the yin and yang system, so you can experience both. And it's because the coils are bigger, you'll experience a stronger magnetic field. Then we go up another step, is the 3S, and now we introduce the quantum crystals. There are actually 3 quantum crystals inside of each coil. You get the gold coils, and it's a little bit stronger than this one in the magnetic field. You get access to a whole lot more frequencies on the app, and you'll get access to my transformation course, which will go through basically all I've learned over the last decade or two about Qi energy and Qi Gong. You even have Qi Gong lessons and course within that system. Then we have the Qi Coil Max that I've shown on the video. This is our largest one, it's 5-inch, and there's 2 layers of winding, whereas the other ones have 1 layer. There's 2 layers. So this is our most powerful system, but it's not as portable, obviously, as the 3. The 3S. The 3S is like this here. So you can see the 3. This can easily fit into your pocket or purse or somewhere like that. But this you won't, unless you have really big pockets, you won't be able to put this in your pocket.
I got big pockets, David.
So you want something stationary, then and you want the most powerful one, then you would get the Max. And this is truly really powerful for the size. I mean, there's things that are about 10 times the size to get the same amount of power, but you'll be able to compact it and fit it into this tiny thing, even though it's 6 inches. 5 inches. So those are our main selling systems. And then when it comes to frequencies, we have a whole database and selection of frequencies. We can just go to our best selling ones here. And, the model is transformation made easy. Yeah. So why? Because it's easy. You just turn it on and you just listen to these, or you can plug in the Qi Coils and use them as magnetic frequencies. So anything from pineal gland activation, brain boosting, solfeggio, luck and fortune, weight loss, sexual wellness, and anti-aging, and so on, right? So you can look at these ones: wellness and Qi energy. Transform your wellness with nature's own life-giving frequencies. So one way we create our frequencies is actually just emulate the frequencies from nature itself, because nature itself is makes you optimal. So
Now,
these are
I
some
do.
of the-
Sorry to cut you off, but I do see, and this is one of the things I wanted to make sure to bring up because this may be a question that people have themselves, and that is, where do you place these coils or these devices we're talking about? Because the lady that we just saw, she had it on her chest, right in between, kind of right out on her sternum.
yeah.
But can you talk about that?
You can place it on your chakras, right? So you can place it on your heart chakra. Place it on your gut chakra. You don't necessarily have to place it on anywhere. You can just leave it on your table, or just leave it by your bed, or even under your bed. So because the field, it can go out to 10 feet in our Qi Coil 3S, right? On the minis, they go out about 3 to 5 feet or so. So as long as you're within that field, you're going to be experiencing the effects of it. But yeah,
That's
some people
good to know.
some people like to put in their chakras. They can, so you can feel that closer, and the stronger. The closer you are, the stronger it is going to be. Just don't put it directly on your head. Like, don't put it in your chakra, because there are strong fields, and you don't want strong magnetic fields that close to your brain. But as long as it's, around here on your shoulders, you have shoulder pain, put it shoulder, knee pain, put it in your knee, just put it on the table, or you can put it in your bag. That's all you need to do. So yeah, you can put it at all those places.
Yeah, that's what
And
I've
yeah,
been doing. I've been putting it on my my gut, because that's what houses our immune system, as you know. And then I've been lately putting it on my knee, and yeah, I'm having a really cool time, sort of testing it and working with it, and because it's so easy to use, and I always have my phone with me, right? So for me, it's just kind of like, why not use it every day?
right. Yeah. So a lot of mind hackers, or basically biohackers like this one, our brain and psychic ability collection. So we have pineal gland, brain boost collection 2, super brain collection, which we have frequencies for. You got lots of different ones here. Frequencies for intelligence, memory and cognition, concentration, and optimizing nerve and brain support, problem solving, brain stamina. Okay, we have all those problem solving. Yeah. So this very powerful, and also we have DMT. I gave you DMT. Have you had a chance to try the DMT one?
I haven't had a chance to try it yet, but I will be jumping on that very soon.
Okay, so we have DMT, ayahuasca. Basically mind expansion. We have even, I don't know if I can say these things out on the thing, but we have this.
Oh, of course you
right?
can. Yes. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have this, right? We have this also.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So you got plant medicine, plant medicine. It's
Plant medicine,
the
mind
frequency
expanding
of,
plant medicine.
yeah, and many different types. Everyone.
Yeah. So how we actually, people say, well, how do you make that, right? Well, what we do is we actually have frequencies that induce psychotropic effects, which is pretty interesting, right? There's certain
Yeah.
ways of creating frequencies that produce, halogenic effects in the brain. So, and then there's some more advanced ones, and then we kind of layer with. It's basically like making music, except it's not really music. Maybe I can play something for you. I don't know if I have something here on this computer, but you have it here.
Let's do it.
Frequency. Let's
Strap
see.
on your seatbelts, everybody. Let's go for a ride.
Spirit. Okay, let me see if I find that one.
So for those that are listening, David is trying to find some tracks so that we can kind of hear what's going on. And keep in mind, like, I think something that's really cool is even if you don't have this coil or one of the coils, you can still just utilize the sound frequencies. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So here I have a DMT frequency. So if you get the DMT album, actually has a series of about, I think, 16 different frequencies. Okay. Some of them are pretty intense. So it has different effects on different people. It can range from mild to pretty intense. Like some people have actual pretty intense experiences, just as if you were on DMT. But I'll play this one here. So how do you like that?
That is trippy. That is trippy. Like I literally imagine just being in a comfortable place, relaxing, sitting down, lying down, whatever, and then having headphones in while activating the coil and having all of that play at the same time. Because I think that was one of the things that I was interested in hearing about, which is combining the sound frequencies with the magnetic frequencies. And you told me I just needed to get like a splitter, a headphone splitter. Mm-hmm. And we can, one of those goes to the headphones, the other goes to the I guess it's the input or the output from the phone.
Yeah, so you can split up the signal, right? You have your Qi Coil app. You got your app. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you got the app. Let me turn it on.
We're giving everybody the full experience here.
Okay. I don't have it installed here, but basically you have an app on here. There's a different app we have. It's called the Rife app. But then you run it through the power kit, and then you would split it up. So one would be plugged into the headphones, and then the other one would be plugged into the coil. You're listening to the sound, and you're experiencing the electromagnetic frequency at the same time. So yeah, just like Josh said, that's a pretty cool experience. If you just just want to experience, do some experimentation with your mind, this is one of the coolest things you could do. More trippy awesome. Things that you can experience other than taking the actual substance, right? So
right. Touche. Yeah, are there any other ones that you want to maybe throw out there so that people can hear? Or, I mean, we don't want to bog down too much of your time, but I do think that should maybe get some people interested in, like, oh, wow, okay, that's kind of what it sounds like. That's cool.
Yeah. Like another frequency. Let me play another one here.
Yeah.
Another very popular one is something called Remove Negative Energy. It's actually free.
We can all use that.
It makes you feel how lightheaded, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's fun. I think even just hearing that for the 10 seconds or so is enough to get people to understand what this could do. And just imagine having the actual power of the magnetic frequency on top of that. It's definitely interesting. And I would encourage people to try it. Like you said, David, sometimes it doesn't matter what data a person has or what testimonies a person has. Sometimes you just got to try it. And until you get your own people, you can always hit your boy up, hit me up. I've got one. And my hope is to continue to get more, because I want to be as cool as David is with that aura in the background. Can you talk about that a little bit?
All right. So you see this larger one. This is called the Aura Coil. And actually, it's on the website. I'll show you what it is. We also kind of rebranded it. They call it the Qi Med Bed, because a lot of people were just using these under their bed. Easily fits in there. So we have like 14-inch, 24-inch, 24-inch levels. This is basically a gigantic Qi Coil. It's about 50 to 100 times more powerful. So a lot of clinics are using these. Practitioners are using these with their clients. They put it underneath a massage table or whatever they're lying on, and or you can put it at the head and at the feet, and basically you run the same frequencies through it. So now, it's 100 times more powerful. It's a very intense field, electromagnetic field that you can generate with these, large enough that it actually be able to reach or cover an entire house up to 3,000 square foot. So if you want to, let's say, remove negative energy in your whole house so that everybody in the house can feel clearer and feel less stressed out and be more brighter and be in a better mood, then you can just play this, put it in the middle of your house and just play the frequency through it. And it would affect that entire area. That's how big it is, because we are talking about an energy field. And an energy field can be as strong as the power that you put through it. So that's what this is for.
A question does come to mind when you talk about it being that powerful, and maybe this question is also for the larger ones you just showed and talked about, all the way down to the mini S. What does it do to other devices like cell phones and things like that? Being that it is a magnetic frequency, should people be mindful of having other electronic devices like credit and even things like credit cards and things like that? Like, will it wipe it out, or is it safe from all that?
I think it's safe. They operate on different frequencies, right? I mean, when we're talking about cell phones, is a completely different hertz. They have really high hertz levels, talking about megahertz or even gigahertz, actually even higher. So gigahertz and even terahertz, right? So it's kind of different. It's on a different band level, so it's not going to really affect or the performance of your devices, like or your phone or things like that. What's the other thing you're asking about? The magnetic cards? No, you need, like, even if you put a magnet to a credit card, it's not going to change it's not going to demagnetize your credit card, right? So this is far from enough power to even do anything like that. The thing is that our bodies and our cells are highly sensitive to subtle magnetic waves, subtle magnetic ELF and VLF, or what do you call it, extremely low frequency and very low frequency. So you don't need to blast this thing for it to affect your cells, because our bodies naturally our cells naturally respond to very weak forces, such as the Earth's magnetic field, right? It's not the strongest field, but it is there. But it's strong enough to help us to feel healthy or not healthy, right? So that's kind of like what we do with our Qi Coils. Some people like to use it on full blast, but some people don't need it. Like, for example, myself, I don't need to use it that much. And if I do use it a lot, I get dizzy, I get overloaded, I get nauseous.
Wow.
So it really depends on the person. Some people say, well, how much power do I turn it up to, right? Do I crank it up to 10? I said, well, you have to really experience it and see what the effects are, right? If you're starting to feel dizzy, or if you're starting to feel nauseous, then you can turn it down. If you need to turn it up, you need to get a stronger effect, and you turn it up, right? So it really depends on the application, how far you are away from the devices that are being used, where you're using them, and also how sensitive you are or the person is. And you can usually tell after using it for about 30 to 60 minutes, you'll know. Because after about 10 or 20 or 30 minutes, you're starting to feel a little bit nauseous, a little bit dizzy. They'd probably have it up too high.
Which really brings me to one more question before we start to wrap up. Is there, well, I guess maybe two questions, but is there a minimum effective dose, or is there, a point of diminishing return when it comes to utilization of said technologies and frequencies we talked about today? And also, are there any that you know of known contraindications for use of said methods?
Right. So this really depends from person to person. Remember what I said about 80% of people can have energy sensitivity, 20% people don't, right? So basically there's a bell curve, right? There's people who are extremely sensitive, there's people that are not so sensitive at all, and there's a whole bunch of people in the middle. So depending on your sensitivity will determine how much and how big of a dose you need to use it. What do you mean by dose? It's not a real dose. It's just how long and how powerful you turn it up, right? Turn it up, that means a bigger dose. Use it longer is a bigger dose. So you have to really just, just be aware of what's happening in your body. Like I said, the number one thing is you may feel dizzy or nauseous. That's the indicator that you've already saturated your body with it. If you probably, most people wouldn't need to use it more than an hour a day. Some people when people first start out, we actually recommend them to use it no more than 20 minutes a day, because your body is trying something new and it may be more sensitive than usual. One thing for sure, though, is we recommend you always be drinking water, make sure you're fully hydrated while you're using it, because it does actually activate your cells. It makes your cells really thirsty. If you don't drink enough water, you may get a headache. So if you're getting a headache, that means you're not hydrated enough. Contraindications. The only thing that we don't recommend is to take iron supplements. So if you are on iron supplements, I would limit the use of our technology, because it is an electromagnetic field, and iron is very strongly magnetic. It reacts to magnets. So if you are on iron supplements, then you just need to monitor yourself and see if there's any discomfort that you're feeling while using the coils. If you are, then turn it down or use it less.
And what about pregnancy and pacemakers?
Pacemakers, we don't have any really data on that, but if you have a pacemaker, there's other PMF companies that say it's safe. So, but we don't really have any data on that. So I can't really say anything about it. Pregnancy, I don't see any problem with that. Like I said, what you feel as someone who's pregnant should indicate, how much you should use. So if you're starting to feel nauseous or you're starting to feel dizzy, then you should turn it down.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah, and obviously with any of the stuff that we talk about on the show, like we're talking about our own experiences, and you should always consult your doctor or your functional medicine practitioner to help you through some of these things. But to David's point, like I've worked with various different PMF technologies, and some of the companies say contraindications are pregnancy and pacemakers, and other companies say it's perfectly fine. Just moderate the dose, or, just kind of assess as you go, slowly but surely over time. So take that with a grain of salt, consult with someone that you trust. And I think hopefully this has been enough of a conversation to get people intrigued on alternative ways to boost their health, because I know for a fact there's a lot of people out there that still just don't have any clue of what's happening. And kind of like you, David, you went 10 years, a whole decade of battling an incurable disease that eventually was cured. And, had you not been a curious type that you are, maybe you would have never stumbled upon this, So I say that for people just to be more open and understand there's a lot out there.
Yeah,
So
one main thing about PMF, if you look into how one of the major studies that was done is done by NASA. So NASA did a study of PMF frequencies on human cells, and this is about 20 years ago. And they have a report. It's actually on my website. If you go to the science page, you can download the report about how they were able to regenerate human cells 40% faster with PMF frequencies. And they use the
wow.
yeah. So the science is there, and we know it works. It's just you just have to really just try it out, right? We do have a money back guarantee, right? So there's really nothing to lose to try something that can potentially transform your life. It absolutely did transform mine. Even my parents transformed their lives as well. Like my dad had insomnia, severe insomnia for 1 month, whole month. He couldn't sleep. And then the first night he used the technology, he slept for 4 hours. And then after that, about a week, his breathing went back to normal. My mom had a stroke, and then she had severe pain in her knees to the point that she couldn't even stand up. She used my Qi Coils, and then that day she stood up and then could at least stand up. So not only has it affected my life and the lives of my family, but lives of lots of thousands of people now.
I love hearing that, and hopefully the people that are listening and or watching, hopefully they feel that, because like when you just explained that about your parents, the first thing I thought is my parents, and they certainly have their fair share of ailments, and one of the things I'm looking into is getting something like this for them as well. So if we want to keep our loved ones around a little bit longer, then why not do as much as you can to help them out? So that's what I'm going to try to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And then what the
Um,
medical system these days is just feed them more drugs, right? Just to keep them hooked onto
exactly.
it, like painkillers and things like that. So I didn't want to see my mom on those all the time. And now she just uses Qi Coils, and then it's reduced her pain at least 70% without any kind of medication or drugs, or without any kind of supplements, which is amazing by itself, because all she has to do to turn it on, she doesn't have to get a refills for prescription. Right? I'm not saying that it replaces those medications. I'm saying this is another alternative and a supplemental thing that can be done, which is very low cost. In the long run, it's huge savings of money.
Right.
Another thing
And
is
that's
like,
important.
yeah, huge savings of money. And another thing is, like, as their parents get older, they're going to need more care and need more help. So why not have something that they can just, select on an app, and then, for whatever state that they desire, to help them sleep and so on.
So I just want to lay something out quickly before we start to wrap up. And I know I mentioned we were going to wrap up earlier, but this one is important. So let's say somebody decides to pull the trigger and they go, okay, Josh and David, I've heard enough. I want to get this thing. And let's say they start off with the Qi Coil Mini S. What should they expect? Like, what is the typical shipping time, and what's going to be included in the package, and what else do they need to do in order to do their first treatment?
Okay, well, you can't call it treatment. It's just a therapy.
Or therapy,
It's
excuse me.
not. This is not a medical device. Nothing here that can
Session.
cure. Yeah, nothing here. Nothing I'm talking about. None of these products can cure, treat, or heal, or mitigate, or prevent any disease. Okay,
Well said.
so but yeah, you'll get a package within a week. Right now, the shipping is pretty fast, or even sooner. And then when you get it, you can just set it up, download the app, and then log in with your email and phone, and then email and password, and then you plug in connect them together. You play it, press play, and then you can put the little magnet ball to see if it's vibrating. If vibrating, that means it's on, and then that's it. Now you're experiencing the frequencies. Use it for 20 minutes for the first 7 days, and use whatever frequency that you want, whatever result you want to achieve. Find out what is your goal. First of all, figure out, what do you want to achieve with this technology? Do you want to improve your sleep? Do you want to soothe any discomforts in your body? Do you want to enhance your focus? Do you want to improve your meditation? Do you want to improve your sex drive or performance, right? Do you want to increase your sports performance? Like what is it you want to do? Then you select that program and stick with that program for at least 7 days, right? Then you have a good indicator whether that's working or not. The thing is that there's so many programs, people try this and that, and then they don't know whether they've improved or not because they don't have a specific goal. But pick your goal and then track yourself and see how that's worked for you. And try at most maybe 5 frequencies for that specific goal, and just stick with those 5 frequencies. Yeah.
Now I think it's worth mentioning that not all of the programs are available or unlocked, right?
Yeah. So when you get your call, you'll get about 7 or 10 frequencies that are unlocked that you can use for quite a long time. They're very useful. And you can use on a daily basis. But then when you start getting to more specific things, then we have some other frequencies that you can unlock on the app. You can also purchase it from the store, and then it will be also unlocked on the app. But we have about over 200 different frequencies on the app. And as we showed you, there's different applications and so on.
Right. Right. It's very extensive. I think there's a lot for people to explore. And as David mentioned, there's a money back guarantee. So there's not much to lose except to get your product of choosing and try to, test out some of the frequencies, give it some time. And, some people may experience things immediately, while others, it may take 7 days or 7 weeks, but hang in there, be consistent. I think that's going to be the biggest piece of advice I could give, because, consistency is key.
That's right. Yeah. And yeah, that's what happens. People, they start with the entry level system, and then after the week, they say, this is awesome. They buy more frequencies, and then they try other things. And then eventually they want to upgrade to bigger systems and bigger and other products. So that's usually the journey that our clients take. Or they may not even get the Qi Coil. They just get some of the free frequencies. By the way, if you go to our website, qilifestore.com, just go to frequencies. There's frequencies you can download. You can check out, download the frequencies for free, try it out, see if it helps you improve your mental health, and go from there. Because that's at first, before even the devices, like I said, I was experimenting with the sound therapy itself. And I said the sound therapy worked very well. Then I tried the devices. So you may want to do that. You don't want to, you're a guy that don't want to jump right in. You want to kind of tippy toe into it. You can do that. It's a free frequency. Download it, listen to it, and see how that helps you. And then even our app, download our app, Qi Coil, Qicoil, or go to our website for the link. It's on both App Store and Android. And there's frequencies on that too. So you can download it, play with the free frequencies, and see if that works. And then most likely you can say, well, this is pretty good. I can feel it. I can feel the changes. Then it'll be, pretty logical for you to start upgrading to getting an actual device so you can experience it magnetically and go from there.
David, this has been very helpful. Very, very helpful. And for those that are listening and watching, bear with me, because we're going to give you discount codes, give you all the links to where you can learn more about this. But as you know, when it comes to having a guest on the show, I always like to finish up with 2 questions. And so, Mr. David, what would be your top 2 pet peeves? What are 2 things that kind of get under your skin? And I know we somewhat prepped for this, but you didn't have a lot of prep time for this. And I know you were a little bit worried that you didn't have anything that came to mind, but maybe after having an hour and a half conversation, maybe something has come up.
Pet peeves, things that get under my skin. I think it's just people that make snap judgments. Okay, because when I talk about Qi, some people automatically tune out just because I said the word Qi. They say, "Oh, it's just some hoo-hoo stuff out there," right? And
Right.
and there's it's just all make believe. It's all just fantasy, and it's basically it's make believe. It's just a bunch of stuff that believe out of nothing. It's not based on anything, and that kind of gets on my nerves because first of all, it kind of insulting to thousands of years of Qi practice and martial arts itself. It's based on the concept of Qi and the culturally, Chinese concepts and philosophies based on Qi, right, and Yin and Yang. So that alone is kind of like annoying. And second of all, they're not aware of all the science that has been accumulated over the last century on different level, ideas of Qi and different expressions of Qi, just like electromagnetism, PMF therapy, sound therapy, light therapy, subtle energy, and things like that. So that's one thing that my pet peeve. A second one would be, I don't know. What would be a second one?
But the first one is a good one. I mean, that's a very, very good one. So I can only imagine.
Mm-hmm. Second one would be,
do you feel like you're on a game show right now, having to come up with the right answer? I mean,
yeah.
I actually think it's pretty cool that you don't identify with many things that get under your skin. You must be a very chilled out dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty chilled out. Things that usually frustrate and anger people, they don't really affect me that much. And I think that's one of my strengths, I guess, as a entrepreneur, because we do come across a lot of obstacles and challenges and setbacks in order to build a company like this. And but I've been able to overcome them, and I attribute that because I'm someone who doesn't give up easily and doesn't get phased. If I get knocked down, I get back up. Right? I've got guts. I've got courage because I have a big liver. That's why they say, in Chinese, traditional medicine, they say, if you have strong liver, then you have more courage. So I naturally have that.
Okay.
So
good.
Yeah.
Well, then I think that is good because you explained something that to me I think also gets under my skin as well, because I'm very much in sort of East meets West and kind of finding a balance between sort of Eastern philosophy and Western philosophies and primitive ancestral wisdom with modern technology. I'm all about balance. But when a person comes to me with this closed mentality, this closed mind, it gets under my skin too. So I definitely identify with that pet peeve for sure. So it's a really good one. So then let's move on to the one that I'm certain is quite easy for you. But what is something that you're most grateful for? And that can be, it doesn't have to be about your work or anything else, but just what is something you're most grateful for?
There's a couple of things. When I was in grade 4, I was 10 years old. I had a near-death experience or near-death accident. And I fell over the rails of the stairs and I basically landed on my head on the lower railings. And then my skull was fractured, and I went under surgery for 24 hours, I think. And then I only had a 50% chance of survival. And even if I did survive, there were chances that I would have brain damage, and then I'd never be able to live a normal life. But miraculously, at that time, my brother prayed for me, and then he prayed that God would give me a second chance, and that's what he did. He gave me a second chance, and I have a very, very good life So one thing, thank God for saving my life. And also I'm just very grateful that I have the abilities I have to be able to create these technologies and create this business and create this opportunity for people based on my life experiences and from my expertise, and being able to combine it all together to create something that has always been my dream, which is to help people and with music, with Qi, with martial arts, with technology, right? Combining all those things and creating something to really change the world. So that's what I'm grateful for.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I had no idea, but that sounds like, wow. I mean, if that doesn't cause someone to kind of take a moment to pause and just think about how quickly our lives can be taken away from us. I definitely think it's something worth thinking about, because I think a lot of times in today's society, today's world, we scare away from the idea of death, but it can be taken just like that, snap of a finger. And what would ever happen if you weren't prepared? And sometimes preparing is just doing what you're doing right now, like continuing to put out the things that you feel is a part of your purpose on this planet. And, whether that's helping people or taking away from people, I mean, we should continue to kind of find what it is, our purpose. What is our purpose? And you found yours, I found mine, and I'm continuing to be curious, to stay curious. And I'm glad we found each other. I'm glad that, we got connected, and I'm super grateful for your time, your expertise, and all of your cool inventions. We did not get a chance to talk about blockchain and your business coaching and all that stuff, but maybe that's something we have you back on for, to talk further. But that is something that you do offer. And so I think that's worth putting out there. Which also brings me to, why don't you just tell people the best ways to keep in touch with you, to find out how they can get their own products, but also any of the other things that you want to promote.
If you want to get in touch with me, I think you can contact me through my Instagram is David Wong Mastery. Right, David Wong Mastery.
Can you spell that? Oh, David Wong Mastery. Yes.
David. You can DM me there. And just thank you so much, Joshua, for what you're doing, and it motivates me and encourages me too, knowing that there's people like you that's pursuing their passion, and also connecting the East and West and the Qi and the technology together, and offering to people and showing them this path, that can potentially be life-changing and transforming. So that's great. Thanks for having me on your show.
Absolutely. Okay. And to all the listeners and the viewers, as always, thank you for your time. Thank you for your curiosity. If you find this episode or any of the other episodes useful, please feel free to share, send me your feedback. Let's do our best to kind of get this type of information into the worlds of everyone else. And until next time, thank you for your time.
Walk the talk, talking facts. Move like me, but I move a little fast. Make my move, here to last. Fasten these seatbelts, I'm coming past. Take care of me, longevity. Hack my biology, better believe. Walking the talk, soul, mind, and body connected. Better come give us a listen. Better come give us a minute or two. Open the box up, we giving you tools. Giving your engine the fuel that it needs. Breathing into it, it's autoimmune. Make a connection, we're stronger in two. Making us one of a kind of a few. Work on the mind, but show me your moves. If you do what you say, you know what to do. Yeah.
Simply walk the talk.